Cooking in the Dark, connecting communities through yummy food. With our special guest, celebrity chef Tim Freeman. Our dish today is tandoor lamb. Discover cooking. Discover Colorado. Discover new friendships. Welcome to Cooking in the Dark, connecting communities through yummy food. While I'm blind and am often cooking in the dark, most folks I know cook in the dark because they don't know where their food comes from. This show is dedicated to shedding light on the people and the places where our food is produced right here in Colorado. We're going to change the way you think about food, one bite at a time. I'm Claudia Folska, and this is Cooking in the Dark. This is Max.
Hello.
And Frankie, and they're my good friends who are here today to help me cook. So one of the things that I learned from our chef, Tim Freeman, he's the executive chef over at the Grand Hyatt Hotel in Aurora, Colorado, was about Colorado lamb. So we're going to talk a little bit about the lamb and where it comes from. But before we do that, let's get started making the marinade. It's going to be a little bit different than what I did with Chef Freeman. He had a lot of different spices, and I thought it'd be nice to sort of change it a little bit. So what we have here is some garlic, and I need you guys to chop that up. Oh, that's not the right way. No.
What?
Just kidding. So, while the boys are getting the garlic and mint ready, I'm going to take you down to Manzanola, Colorado, where we found our lamb. This is the Triple M Bar Ranch. It's owned by Dave and Mary Miller. Mary is known as the Lamb Lady in Colorado. They have an expansive 500-acre ranch right along the Arkansas River. Dave and Mary Miller have spent over 10 years dedicating their lives to raising Colorado's best lamb. And the lambs are looked after by 13 Pyrenees mountain dogs. They're just as serious about those dogs as they are their lamb. In fact, you know, they take care of their lambs so well, they're grass-fed and they're not given any antibiotics whatsoever. I sure did love those lambs. Now let's get back to the cooking. Let's move the lamb bowl right over here in between you two. Perfect. Before we start mixing it up, though, we have a couple more ingredients that we want to add to it. This is some aged balsamic vinegar, okay? So I'm going to throw that in there. Olive oil in there. Kosher salt, right? Pepper. Why don't you gentlemen mix it up and we'll set it aside to marinate. You know, food safety is always top of the mind, right? So top of the mind, and as soon as you're finished mixing, you guys can wash with warm water and soap.
Definitely.
Speaking of top of the mind, while the gentlemen are washing up, let's go meet Chef Tim Freeman over at the Hyatt Hotel in Aurora, Colorado. The Grand Hyatt Hotel and Conference Center just opened in Aurora, Colorado. The Borealis restaurant is one of my favorites. The Borealis staff is the best, and they sure know how to have fun. Now, as for Chef Tim Freeman, he doesn't quite know what to expect. I have something in store for him. I think you're gonna like it.
Hi there, I am Tim Freeman, Executive Chef at the Hyatt Regency Aurora Denver Conference Center.
You know that I can't see very well, and you're such a great celebrity chef. I was wondering if you would join me in being blindfolded. Would you be willing to take that?
I'd love to.
Okay.
It's going to be a new experience, but we'll give it a shot and see what happens. The experience putting on the blindfold was scary at first. It was also slightly, it was very exciting also. Scary and exciting at the same time. And, as soon as the blindfold goes on and I can't see, it's really confusing and disorienting at first. But after about 5 minutes, I kind of settled into it and actually kind of enjoyed it. It was a new experience and a lot of fun in a weird way to be able to cook without really seeing what I was doing. Awesome, Claudia. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a little tandoori spice lamb. I love working with lamb. Lamb really absorbs the flavor of India. And working in Kenya for a couple of years, a lot of my staff were from India. And I love their food. It's one of my favorite foods to eat myself. And lamb just goes so beautiful with, tandoori spices like garam masala, cinnamon, cumin, onion powder, all those really rich spices. It's going to be a beautiful dish. We'll do it with some roasted eggplant, some baby carrots, and a little bit of hummus. Not being able to see,
Right.
I know straight away that these are saddle chops. So they look like little T-bone steaks.
Right.
So you have the New York strip on one side and you have the filet mignon on the other.
Correct.
So this is a saddle chop, not as you would expect. Most people think of lamb chops, they think of a lamb rack. They feel very, very tender. I can feel a little bit of fat here on the outside of the lamb on the New York side. The bones are. This is probably a really young lamb because these saddle chops are quite small. What we're going to do with these is we're going to marinate these in a little bit of Indian spice or tandoori spice. Like I said earlier, Indian food is one of my favorite foods to eat. I'm taking the lamb chops and I'm adding a lot of different spices to them. I'm adding coriander, I'm adding cumin seed, I'm adding garam masala, I'm adding turmeric, yogurt. I've got, a kind of a utility spoon here, and I know that this was a quart container.
Okay.
So I'm going to use about half of a quart of yogurt.
All right.
And I think that
What kind of yogurt is that?
this is a Greek yogurt. I like it because it's nice and thick,
Uh-huh.
and it sticks to the meat really well. And once we cook it, it ends up getting a nice char on the outside of the lamb.
Oh.
So spices, this is going to be a rough one for me. I know they're over here somewhere. It's a very strange feeling. As I'm measuring the spices into my hand, it's a strange feeling to not only have them in my hand, but try to guesstimate by weight and by feel what's a teaspoon, what's a tablespoon, what's 2 tablespoons. And with the garam masala, the turmeric, the onion powder, the garlic powder, the cumin, all the things that I put into the marinade. It's just a new experience to have those in your hand and not be able to see anything. It's challenging. It's you got to use your brain a little bit and think and use the tools which you have to kind of figure out exactly what you're doing. And normally I'd be done with this by now. I mean, I'd have the meal cooked, served, and ready to go. I can see how in an instance like this you would need to plan ahead for sure. And
What's this?
I really don't don't know. I'm just going to
take
grab
a
all my
smell.
spices at one time so I don't have to keep reaching for them.
Let's see.
Get a whiff of that. What's that smell like?
Garlic? No?
Yeah, this is either garlic powder or onion powder. Actually, I think this is the garlic. Have a smell of this?
Turmeric?
That is turmeric.
Oh.
This is going to give a beautiful color to the lamb, especially when we, with the yogurt. This will give us a nice bright yellow color. And I'm using a lot of turmeric.
Oh, wow. A lot.
Yeah, we want to get a nice color
Like
on the lamb.
2 fistfuls?
Yeah, that's probably about half a cup of turmeric.
Oh, gosh.
I'm adding all this to the bowl with the lamb and mixing everything in really well and making sure I'm incorporating all the spices and the yogurt into the lamb. Having to mix the marinade by hand without any measuring tools and kind of using the tools that God has given us in our hands, it was a great experience. Claudia, lamb's marinated. We're going to let it rest for the next hour or so. We're going to move on to the second component of our dish, which is our hummus. Hummus is one of my favorite foods. I love to eat it. We serve it in our restaurant Borealis with tabbouleh, which is a bulgur wheat salad.
Oh my God. Oh.
Some dried figs, some little Peruvian peppers, extra virgin olive oil, some preserved lemon, Very traditional presentation and traditional accompaniments as well. So, you know, hummus and lamb, it's like peas in a pod, and they go great together. And I'm looking for, there it is. This is
What's that?
this is absolutely a wild experience.
I'm
Trying
sorry,
to
I
do,
just
no,
moved your tahini.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, what do you want now?
So what we need now is lemons.
I got lemons. Here. How many do you
Find 'em?
like? Yeah.
Perfect. So we're gonna take these lemons
Right.
and cut them in half.
So people always tell me, you know, they're like a little nervous about me using a knife, right?
Are you using a knife now? Because if you
No.
are, I'm gonna run.
Not yet.
I'm kidding.
But okay, shouldn't we smash these first?
Yeah, we're gonna roll these around a little bit,
Uh-huh.
just to kind of break up the inside and you get a little more juice out of them.
Oh.
What you can also do is pop these in the microwave for 10 seconds.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna cut mine. How's that?
I'm gonna try to cut mine here and
Okay.
so they're not exactly even, but I got them cut. And we're looking for, so the first thing we're gonna look for is chickpeas.
Okay.
I think this
Now-
is this is the chickpea here. You can definitely feel it. So into the blender I add garbanzo beans, fresh lemon juice, tahini, salt, pepper, and a little bit of blended oil and roasted garlic cloves, and putting it in the blender and turning on really high speed, not being able to see it and having to use the plunger to kind of feel what the consistency of the hummus is. It's a totally foreign experience. You know, hummus is one of those things where you need to get the consistency exactly right, and not being able to see it was really hard. And you know, having to use Claudia's expertise and with the hummus, you know, letting me know if it was too thick or too thin or chunky or smooth. She was definitely a great help. We take the carrots, we lay them out, we peel them. We also, with the Thai eggplant, pierce the skin a little bit with a knife, just to pierce the skin so we get a nice even roast on them. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these,
Okay.
we're gonna go into our convection oven,
Oh, okay.
right behind us.
Uh-huh.
Wow, that's hot. So, you know, I reach into the oven to try to put the eggplant and carrots in the oven, and I burn myself straight away. And it's a scary feeling, not being able to see what you're doing and knowing that, you know, you have a 450-degree oven in front of you, and, you know, if I stick my hand in it, I'm going to burn it. So, yeah, it was a scary experience.
These are the garbanzo beans, and you can see that they're just gorgeous, right? Look at that. They're really nice and clean. I took them out of a can. Chef Freeman told me that it's best to take them right out of the can and then rinse them with cold water, and they've been draining, okay? So we're going to use that. The other ingredient that we're going to use in our hummus is tahini. Tahini is simply ground sesame seeds. Why don't you have a smell? Go ahead and smell it.
Yeah.
It smells good, right?
Yeah.
So it's very wholesome. It's kind of like peanut butter. And we're going to use the hummus as a dip with some vegetables. And sometimes they call that a crudité. Some folks do that. And that's a vegetable platter with dips. And we're going to use the hummus. And I know that you guys like a little kick to it. So we're going to throw in some cayenne pepper at the very end. Okay? All right. So let's get started. Roll the lemons so they're nice and soft. Go ahead and pour some in there. Another fistful. 4 tablespoons of the tahini. Frankie, since your hands are clean, you can pour some olive oil in there. In the blender. A couple tablespoons okay. Then we're going to put the lemon juice, Max. Throw the lemon juice in there. About half of it, let's try
Half of
that.
it?
We don't want it too tart. But if we need more, we can always add it.
Yeah,
It's just harder to take it away. And then we'll use a couple pinches of salt
Right.
and hope for the best.
They do.
Yeah.
Frankie and Max, you guys did a beautiful job with our crudité platter and our hummus for dipping the vegetables in here. So what I'd like to do is set this out on the dining table, and we're gonna go and get ready to do the main event. Those
All right.
lamb chops are next.
Ooh.
All right.
Okay, Claudia.
Yes.
So our lamb is good to go.
Okay.
We've been in here about 10, 12 minutes. I can feel with my tongs here, the meat's a little bit above mid rare right now, and I know you like medium, so we're gonna go ahead and pull this. You know, I have a decided advantage as a chef, being able to see what I'm doing and see the beautiful food that we have to work with. Having to rely on my sense of smell and hearing to know if the food is ready, if it's not ready, what does it look like. You know, it's not medium right now, but I know that by the time this meat rests, it will be. And you know, timing played a lot into it as well, knowing, you know, I can't set the timer on the oven because I can't see it, but I know that if I open the oven door and I hear the vegetable sizzling and popping, and I know that they've been in there for about 5 or 6 minutes, I know that I'm pretty much good to go. And it was just a really incredible experience to cook without being able to see.
There.
Ouch. In a weird way, and I was thinking about this earlier, in a weird way, it actually connected me to the food a lot more by using my hands and my sense of smell and hearing than just by using tools, you know, measuring cups and measuring spoons. I felt connected to the food a lot more, which was a weird, you know, it was a weird experience, and not weird in the sense where it was really foreign, but weird in a sense where it was just a whole nother experience for me. Our lamb chops, which have been resting for a while, and I got one.
Okay.
Ouch. And I wanted to try to put the other one up at an angle just to give a little bit of height to the dish, to give a little texture to the dish. I don't know, I think yeah, I did. And I know I'm playing around with the food a lot now with my fingers, but I don't have any other choice. Thai eggplant. We're gonna put one off to the side, and maybe we'll put one in front.
Okay.
We got a couple of carrots here. We're gonna put the carrots kind of right in between the lamb chops. And the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little bit of,
What's this?
smell this. Smell it?
You pooped
Did
me.
it come flying out at you?
Right
Sorry
away.
about that.
What is that?
This is a little bit of mango puree.
Oh,
This is strictly for color.
Okay.
I want to put a couple of dots on the dish,
Uh-huh.
and I really hope that I'm not screwing this up royally. I just want to add a little contrast
Uh-huh.
of color to the dish. And then the last thing we're going to do, just to add some more color and a little bit of herby punch to it, is we're going to add some microgreens to it if I can find them.
Okay. Here's something.
It's in a plastic, like a little plastic box. Yeah, here we go. So this is a rainbow blend. It's got a lot of different types of micros in it. Bull's blood. Bull's blood is a beet tops,
Oh.
celery, cilantro, wasabi. So this adds a lot of color, and it also adds a really nice herby punch to the dish.
Okay.
And so I have my lamb chops here to the left and to the right. What I like to do is I like to make it look like the herbs are walking a little bit. or they're kind of growing.
Uh-huh.
So some of the plates we do in the restaurant, when we put micros on them, we put them in such a way it looks like they're growing out of something or growing into something. So I hope that when the dish ends here, that's what we're going for.
All right, well, thank you very much. Why don't you take off your blindfold and see how you did?
Not bad.
Okay, close enough?
It's actually pretty good.
So it's my turn, right?
It's your turn.
And you're going to observe me, right?
I am going to observe.
Okay, so this is the hummus.
This is the hummus.
I'm going to try and copy you. How many scoops? 2?
I did 2 scoops of hummus and then kind of brushed it across the plate.
Okay. I've never brushed anything.
There you go. Nice job.
These are big.
So your veggies are right in front of you. There you go.
Well,
A couple of drops of mango coulis.
Well, what if I like a lot of it? Oops. That's too much, huh?
It looks like sunny side up eggs, but it looks okay.
It's more for you to dip your bread in, or I could swish it around. Let me swish it. Then it looks like I intended it to be that way. There.
Perfect.
And then what was the other thing?
Just a little bit of the rainbow mix.
greens?
Yeah, the little micros. Wow, make it rain. Nice job.
I like everything to be free.
Yeah, perfect.
Release it all over the plate. How does it look though?
It looks
slightly different, you know.
a little different than mine, but you know what? It still looks great, and I would definitely eat it.
You would?
Yeah, hell yes, definitely.
Okay, well then let's go eat it.
Perfect, let's do that.
Well, I am so excited to finally get to the main event here, our Colorado lamb. So it's been marinating for a couple of hours.
Yep.
Why don't you toss it one more time and then lay them out so there's a little bit of space between each one. We have 15 chops here. Let's see how you can do that.
All right.
And the faster you put them out, the faster they go in the oven and the faster we can eat.
Go, 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 go.
I'm hoping you feel the pressure. Good job. All right, we're going to put this in the oven at 420 degrees, and we're going to cook them for 7 minutes on each side, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
These are gonna be really good.
Frankie and Max are just about finished setting the table, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about the beer that was paired with Chef Freeman. He thought that the best pairing for the lamb that we got from Manzanola, Colorado, would be best coupled with a Hoppercott from the Dry Dock Brewery. What they did at the Dry Dock Brewery is they have the first license to put the American flag on the cover of their beer, on the label of their beer. And so I want my friend Emily Hutto to tell you more about it, along with her brewmaster, Tim.
My name is Emily Hutto. I'm the communications manager here at Dry Dock Brewing Company and the Brew Hut. I'm drinking a Hoppercott, which is a blend between our flagship Apricot Blonde Ale and our Hop Abomination IPA.
Yeah, so beer characteristics are a lot like wine characteristics. There's just as large of a spectrum of flavors, maybe even a bigger spectrum of flavors for beer. Everything from fruity, sweet, to pungent, resinous, bitter, which are both represented in this particular beer that we're talking about today. There is just a cacophony of possibilities in this particular product that I love to manipulate, and there's so many different ways to manipulate it.
A couple years ago, we made the Colorado Freedom Memorial Blonde Ale, which was a draft-only beer for 1 year before we put it into a bottle the next year. We put it in 22-ounce bombers, and we used the Colorado Freedom image on that bomber. Well, that image includes an American flag, and we have a really fun milestone that goes along with that. Dry Dock is the first brewery to ever reach out and get federal approval to use the American flag on a beer label. And we're very proud to have done that. So when we brewed and packaged the beer a couple years ago, we put the Colorado Freedom Memorial image right on that beer label.
In 2013, they had an opening of the Colorado Freedom Memorial. Rick Crandall was responsible for raising all of the money, over $1 million, to build the Freedom Memorial, which is in Aurora, Colorado. And if you have an opportunity to go visit it, I would encourage you to do so.
When we broke ground in February of 2013, Sherry Bush, whose son Andrew Rydell was killed in Iraq, she was here for the groundbreaking, and she came to me and said, "Thank you for giving me a place to leave my tears." And I thought, that's what this was always all about.
Well, I really can't thank you both enough for all of the help that you did today and the work that you did. You know, there's a story behind the food that we have here, and when we talk about cooking in the dark, people are cooking in the dark because they don't know where their food comes from. I think today we learned a lot about what or who is behind the food that we have here on the table. So we have our Colorado lamb, we have our vegetable medley, and we have our hummus and our vegetable crudité. All of these wonderful things come from, you know, locally grown farmers and ranchers who really care deeply about the food, and the connections between the food and the people that grow, whether it's at the Dry Dock Brewery or at the Colorado Freedom Memorial. We know now that there are great stories behind everything we eat. Dig in.
So I want to say a special thank you to Claudia for allowing me to spend, a couple of hours in her world today. It was a great experience and one that I'll definitely not forget. And for me as a chef and a creative person, I have a whole different kind of view and take on food in general. And it's one that tonight when I go home and on my way home, on my drive home from work, I'm going to look back on and figure out a way which I can incorporate some of the experiences that I felt today into everyday dining. How that is going to transpire and how that's going to move forward, I really don't know, but I definitely want to try to incorporate some of those feelings into the food that we do here in Borealis.
So let's cheers.
Yeah, let's try to do this
Cheers.
Where's your...
Here we go.
One. Nice. Oh, very good.
This is so good.
It is.
Frankie, Max, let's cheers.
Cheers.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. This program was brought to you by the generous support of Visit Aurora. If you'd like more information about Cooking in the Dark, visit us at cookinginthedark.today, or you can also visit us at rockymountainpbs.org.